All right. Hi, baseball, softball parents. My name is Gaines Duval. Just like you, I am a parent of athletes at Rejoice. One plays baseball, one plays softball. I want to get this out of the way before you watch this video. I do not represent Rejoice Christian School. I don't work there. I don't have any financial interest in it. I just have a vested interest because I have kids there like you do. Um, we're going to talk in just a minute about the importance of having a turf baseball softball field. And I'm going to go through all those details. I know a lot of you have been wondering what is all this hype, these emails, these text messages about raising funds for this. And again, I want to stress I am just a parent like you. I do not represent the school, but I believe that it will be important for our current athletes and our future athletes and the future of Rejoice School to have this done. So I'm going to walk you through a little slideshow that I put together. Just did it real quick. I usually have a team that does all this for me, so bear with me and understand this isn't real fancy and pretty. It's just something I made real quick. Because I know a lot of you can't come to the meeting tonight, and a lot of you couldn't come to the meeting we had a couple weeks ago. Understand that. We're all busy. I get it. So I thought maybe this short video would help. So I'm going to share my screen, show you this PowerPoint. We're going to walk through some common questions that we're getting. Okay, I hope that I am sharing the right screen. Okay, it looks like I am. So what you see here is just simply a rendering of what the potential infield turf would look like at the baseball/softball field. This is from one of the vendors that the school and coaches got bids from. This isn't necessarily the one we'll use. This isn't necessarily exactly what it would look like, but this is just to give you an idea. That way you have a visual of what you might see when you go to a game this spring or next fall. So let's walk through this. Common questions we're getting: why artificial turf? Well, we live in Oklahoma. We get a lot of rain. There are a lot of rainouts for baseball. So our baseball team has been playing at the high school. We have a lot of rainouts, and as we travel around, there are pretty much every school we go to now has either turf infield or complete turf. So it gives the kids the ability to practice almost all the time, gives them the ability to play games almost all of the time. For example, a week or two ago, we had some serious rain coming in, and just shortly after that rain stopped, and maybe it was still even sprinkling a little bit, the football field was out, or the football team was out on the football field practicing because all of that water just drained away. In addition, and this hasn't been a request of his, but God bless Coach Witten, who's out there taking care of this field. This would free him up for a lot more coaching responsibilities than actually being the groundskeeper for the entire field. Now, again, he might still have to take care of the outfield. We'll get to that in a minute. So that is why artificial turf is important. Now, in addition to that, and I'm going to probably talk a little bit more about this in a minute, but in addition to artificial turf being important for those reasons, we need to get our softball players on campus. So our softball players are having to travel every day for games or practices, or if they do want to stay at the school and practice, they do sometimes have access to the indoor facility. They do have access to a track field, or the second football field, soccer field, track field, etc. But they don't have a softball field to practice on at Rejoice. And that's unfortunate. These girls work just as hard as other athletes in our school. And it's important to get them here. So in order to have a combined field, and we'll talk more about why in just a minute, we're going to have turf. I don't want to say impossible, but it would be nearly impossible to have a baseball/softball field that is all grass. That would be very difficult to do. Okay, so why infield only? Well, there are schools out there. So I had the blessing of traveling with some of the coaches to various schools all over the state. to look at their fields. And one of the schools we went to is state champions in softball, baseball, multiple times. And their baseball field is just infield turf, artificial turf, and grass outfield. And they said they like it that way. Now, a lot of the other schools have all of it. I think all of it is better for weather. But quite frankly, the answer to the question of why infield only is money. The outfield, if I zoomed out and showed you the square foot of the outfield, is almost twice as much turf, if not more, as what we're proposing of doing to the infield. So quite frankly, by getting the infield done now, we will have our baseball players using this turf field this spring, our softball players using it next fall or summer and fall. And in addition, it shows progress. If we have to raise additional funds for the outfield and the rest of the facility, it could take a year or 2 years to get that done. So let's show a commitment and progress to our baseball and softball athletes now. So that's the answer to why infield only. Now, it could be possible that we get infield only and our baseball and softball team absolutely love it and they want to maintain grass in the outfield. That's possible. But for now, this is what I believe we can do, and we can do it quickly. So why combined? I mentioned that earlier. I'll go into a little more detail. There's multiple reasons. One, it builds pride. You know, baseball and softball players both using the same field in different seasons. They don't play at the same time. That is their field. So this is not just the baseball field, not just the softball field. This is the baseball, softball field. Lots of pride in that. It also helps with raising funds. We have the baseball families and the softball families, or like myself, baseball and softball families combined, willing to help with making this an absolute amazing facility like some of the other schools that have combined fields. And then lastly, like I said, if by doing the infield in turf, it's a real easy switch out to move it from baseball to softball. And I will personally admit that I was guilty a couple years ago of saying, no, the softball players need their own field. Sure, that would be cool. But I want to bring something to everybody's attention. The volleyball team and the basketball teams use the same court, the same facility. Okay? The football team and the soccer team use the same facility, right? So there's nothing wrong with having multiple sports using the same field or the same facility. And again, it helps us financially, it helps us with pride, and we can get this done quickly. So that's why we're looking at doing combined. The cost, we'll get into cost in a minute. Let's look at what that means, having a combined field. So as you can see, here's the infield in turf, the sides, and then we got a couple bullpens. I don't know that these bullpens will go right here. I don't know exactly what colors we're going to have. I don't make any of those decisions. This is just one rendering from one company that we got a bid from. But it's really cool to see that if you look over here in softball, the bases are 60 feet apart. So right here would be softball first base, second base, and third base. And of course, they would share home plate. When it's softball season, the bases would be there at first, second, and third. And there would be a temporary movable fence that would go along here. And that's a pretty cool story as well. I'm not going to spend time on that, but it's really neat. We saw that out at, oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank on the name of the school, but we went to a school that has a combined, and that outfield, it looks absolutely amazing. So with that said, when softball season is over, these bases come up. There's a little plug that goes down there, and they put in the baseball bases, first, second, and third. And the softball mound, of course, is flat, so that just remains there. They take out the piece of rubber there. And then they roll in the baseball mound. Very common in baseball these days. and easily done. So super simple to have a combined field. I thought maybe it would be a little awkward, but as I saw some of them, absolutely not. Super, super efficient. Okay, so what's the cost? This isn't cheap. And again, we've got multiple bids. So this number that I'm going to show you in just a minute is just an approximate based on multiple bids that we've got. This would, we're hoping to include the cost of the softball fence that we need to put in, all the extras for switching out baseball, softball, the lines, the logos. I mean, we don't know if it would say Eagles here. Again, that's up to the coaches in the school. Maybe it would just have our logo. Who knows? Maybe it would have a Bible verse. No clue. But at the end of the day, the approximate cost for everything we're needing to have the baseball team there in the spring and the softball team there in the fall is approximately $550,000. So as you can imagine, doing the outfield would be probably another $1 million. And hey, if somebody wants to write a check for an additional $1 million after we raise this 550, that's outstanding. Let's get it all done. But in the meantime, this is a short-term goal that will make a major difference in our baseball and softball program. So $550,000 is approximately what it will cost. So what do we have now? Well, many of you rallied and we raised a ton of money for the lights, the baseball field lights. And my understanding, again, is that there is some left over. Again, I got to stress this because this is important to them and it's important to me. I don't represent the school. I haven't seen this money. My understanding is that there is $85,000 left over from the lights. Okay, so $85,000 left over from the lights. We currently have already received checks for an additional $16,000, and we have heard from multiple parents that have pledged well over $25,000. I believe the current pledges is much higher than that, but I would rather underestimate. In addition, we have a family willing to donate $200,000 as a match to the parents. So in other words, we'll make the assumption that this $200,000 is going to come in addition to the 85, the 16, the 25. That would put us currently at a total of about $326,000. So that's a couple $100,000 short of where we need to get based on what we currently potentially have, I guess would be a better way to say it. So how do we get the rest? Whoops, I'm going back too far. Hold on a second. Where do we get the rest? That's from you, from local businesses, from grandparents, from friends, from other family members, everybody that can possibly help. And listen, I know some people, based on talking to them, have felt like, well, I can't really make a difference. Absolutely, you can make a difference. If it's $100, it's going to make a difference. Maybe your kids help donate some. I'm going to stress to our two children that they're pitching in here. They're going to be playing on these fields for a couple years. They're going to pitch in and help. So whether it's $100 or $100,000, the school will absolutely be blessed. Our baseball players, our softball players, all the fans will be super blessed with that donation. So don't feel that you're not making a difference. Now, if you want to make a substantial donation, maybe on behalf of your business, I'm not a CPA. I can't tell you if things are tax deductible or not. That's not my job. You would talk to your CPA, talk to the school. But ultimately, while again, I do not represent the school, I will fight for you and ask that there is some kind of recognition or representation of your donation at the baseball softball facility. So in the end, the rest of the money, the other 200 plus thousand that we need to get, is going to come from you. Now, in addition, I think like all parents, we hope that the school pitches in. We hope that the school will help with this. Will they? I can't speak for them. Will I ask them? Will I push hard? 100%. You have my commitment that I will be a parent advocate that, hey, let's get as much raised as we can, and maybe we can get the school to help with the final part. So again, any help that you can give, $1, $100, $100,000, super helpful right now. So when do we want to get this done? From talking to these turf companies, I believe from what I've heard, they can start like tomorrow if we're ready. So obviously we can't have them start tomorrow if we don't have the funds raised. Most of them have said based on weather, they can do it as fast as 30 days, maybe 60 days if there's some bad weather. So arguably, if we get this done quickly, raising the money, we can actually have our baseball team practicing and playing on this turf infield for this coming spring season, and then our softball players on this field in the next summer and next fall. What a win and blessing that would be. So how do you donate? So you would make your check out to Rejoice Christian School. Okay, that's obvious. This is very important. In the memo portion of your check, it needs to say baseball, softball facility. Now, guys, I am just relaying what I was told for my portion, my donation. So again, I don't represent the school. I'm just sharing with you guys what I was told. So you can obviously check this with the school, check with Coach Marley, check with Coach Witten, check with Coach Stitt. Once you write that check to Rejoice Christian School, put baseball, softball facility in the memo, you would put it in an envelope that will say Brent Marley on it. Now, don't put Brent Marley on the check. Put Brent Marley on the envelope that you put the check in. That way it gets in his hands because that is his job. He is in charge of raising capital. So in addition to being the head football coach, that is his school function. So it's very important that it gets in his hands. So once you've done that, you would hand the check to Coach Marley, or hand the envelope to Coach Marley, Coach Witten, or you can give it to somebody at the front desk as long as you've given them clear instructions that it is going to Coach Marley. So that is all I've got for now. I hope that helps. We are still going to have our barn open tonight. The address is 18703 East 106th Street North. We were going to have a meeting there tonight at 6 o'clock. A lot of you have said that you won't be able to make it due to church functions. We understand that. This was just the only night that I could do it and Coach Witten could do it. So we are still going to meet tonight. But if you could, please share this video. Tonight, by the way, if you're watching this video another day, tonight is September 10th. So it is September 10th, 2025. 6 o'clock p.m. at the barn. You should have got an email or a text about it. If you didn't, just reach out to Coach Witten or myself. If you are coming tonight, please RSVP to me at my cell phone, 480-280-2046. That's 480-280-2046. Let me know that you're coming. That way, if I'm sitting there and nobody's there, I'll wait a little longer because I'm expecting you. Lastly, I'm going to encourage you to say the same prayer that I've been saying. I've been asking our Heavenly Father, like, listen, if this is what you want, if this will further the kingdom, and this is something that will help the school, that is absolutely furthering your kingdom, then let's do it. But Father, if not, close the door. Close the door. Let's just stop dreaming about this right now, unless this is what you want. God, we're all ears, and we want this to happen, but we want this to happen if this is what you want as well. So that's been my prayer. I encourage you to pray that as well. I encourage you to pray about what kind of donation you can give. I understand some of you have seniors, but guys, I received an email from a senior parent that just melted my heart. And it said, yeah, my son is only going to be able to play on here for 1 year, but I am so grateful that he's going to be able to play on turf his final year. And he's making a donation. I know some of you are elementary school parents, and it's a ways out till your children will be playing on this field. But what a blessing to have them come watch baseball, softball games now on this amazing field and watch it develop and feel that their family had a part in it. Hope you guys have a blessed rest of your day. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks.